Okay, so you will be a bag holder. Okay, that's what you are. No, not you. You're different, obviously, but most people will. I'm sorry. Okay, someone has to say it, but 90% of you will make no money this cycle. I cannot wait to sell. Okay, I hate the bull market. I can't wait to get out of here because this idea of making a lot of money in crypto, it's all a lie. Because as much as you can make, you can lose. At the end, net, it's a complete balance. Crypto investing is not some unfair edge. So far, it may seem like it is, but by the time this cycle is over, the amount of people that make money and how much they make will be offset by the amount that lose and how much they lose. In essence, crypto is not a winning game. So there's my first bit of advice. If you're new, then leave. And if you've somehow made a little bit of money so far, then probably cash out. But if you're still here, okay, I don't know why, but there's still some things we can discuss, which we'll do in this video. And hopefully, instead of 90% bag holding, those that watch this video, only 89% do so. Okay, but first, a little market update. With Bitcoin, I like what I see. I believe that sooner rather than later, we get a pretty aggressive altcoin season. I've been saying this for about the past month, and some people have been saying that, what are you talking about? This is no altcoin season. Well, by the time you're able to say it's an altcoin season, there's no point because most of the gains would have already been made. Back in late November, I declared altcoin season. Okay, and here's the chart for Chainlink. I love Link, okay? I think we make new highs. So when you think of altcoin season, and when you say altcoin season isn't here, it's because you're referencing candles and charts like this, right? At what point of this price movement would you appreciate me saying it's alt season? At that point, we can see, right? Thank you so much. We can see there's no point. It's done. I'm looking to get out. So when Link breaks highs, right? If you want me to say alt season is here, I can do that as well. Obviously, it is alt season, but I don't see the point. And I'll only be saying this for a little while longer now. Once we get into that zone, that is when everyone else starts saying alt season. And that's when my content will shift to being extremely selling focused, which will be very contrarian to what is happening at that time. Everyone's going to be making the most money they ever have. How can you even say sell? But I then expect that to get offset quickly by the amount that gets lost during that time. That said, we're not there yet. I still think a pretty aggressive altcoin season is coming soon. And the higher Bitcoin goes up and the stronger dominance stays until that time, the bigger the altcoin season will be. And I've been saying this for a while. It simply has to do with liquidity and finding itself into altcoins. And no, I'm not banking on ETF money buying altcoins, but typically what we had was crypto whales, mostly Bitcoin whales, and then smart retail, those that have been here for a while, and then those new incomers as well. This is basically the pool of liquidity. And in prior cycles, we relied on these whales to drive up the price of Bitcoin and to keep it propped up until they found it time to play in the altcoins. This time, I feel, in my opinion, we won't have to rely on them as much as the ETF institutional money will probably be the one keeping the Bitcoin price up. So I think that this time, for the first time ever, we'll have crypto native whales and all types of retail partake in altcoins to their fullest extent because of this new element of having a demand side on Bitcoin. Now, most gains happen at the end, so expect these altcoins to do their thing for on average 4 to 6 weeks. That will probably be the bulk of its move. After that, it could pause for a while before going on another run of 4 to 6 weeks. Avalanche and Solana, XLM, Filecoin, that's exactly how it went down. So it really is a mania of around 2 months and then that's it. For the sake of it, let's say it's January and February of next year. During this time, things like buying are completely out the window. And I'd even argue that rotations are pretty risky as well. If you have the skill to do that, then it's actually one of the most profitable things, but it really is difficult. As the order goes big, medium, small, and micro caps, and then it goes back to big. And then it repeats once again. But if you want to be successful in that, you're going to want to be in sort of the next phase while everyone is focused on the current phase. Meaning you have to come up with those those ideas on your own, as Twitter and YouTube, if you're looking for information there, by the time the information gets there and people start putting it out, including me, it's probably too late. It'll be something like big caps go up 2x, and then mid caps 3 to 5x, and then small and micro caps as much as 10x or more. And there will be enough of a delay to sort of get positioned for the next move. But for the most part, you just want to stay put with your bags and focus on selling them. So let's now talk about selling and bag holding and the psychology behind it. So with crypto, it's not a good way to make money from scratch, but it's a great way to amplify existing money. Let's say you have 1,000. You can get a 10x. A 10x in investing is insane. It doesn't happen, right? And a lot of times luck is attributed to it. In other cases, there's research and analysis and the ability to hold and have conviction through multiple probable 50 to 70% drawdowns. It's not an easy feat whatsoever, and if you pull it off, you should be proud. But after all of that, you only get 10,000. Now, $10,000 is a lot, but you have to realize the only difference in this entire equation between you making 10,000 and 100,000 is your initial investment. That's it. Otherwise, everything you did and all the work you put in to get that return stays the same, which is why I say if you get into crypto to make money, it doesn't make sense. Money pulls money. So if you have enough of a bag and size to play with, then it's excellent. Okay, so why am I saying all this? Because I feel like a lot of you will make money that is adequate size to then invest in future cycles. I think 30 to 50k is sort of, the bare minimum, but 100k is the sweet spot. So let's say with the start of the cycle, you had 10k and you turned it into 50k. And now you're hoping that you get another 5x to turn it into 250k. It's definitely possible, right? But with that 50k you have right now, you would probably be able to invest it next cycle into just Bitcoin and get that 250k. Now, I would still say go for it for this cycle, but you have to realize that the odds are against you. But here's what's going to happen, right? It's going to go up. Let's say it goes up to 100k, then we get a dip. Then it goes up again to 200k and we get a dip again. Dip goes down to 150 and goes up again, but this time to 180k where it makes a lower high. It then goes down to 110, because remember, all of this is happening very fast. And at this point, you're saying, just get back to 150. I don't even want 200. Gets to like 130 and then it breaks down completely to 60k. You think your benchmark is 200k. No, it's not. You had that for like a day in unrealized profits. And what do you think you're saying now? Oh, I have 60,000. I started with 50. This is good enough to get out. No, you're gonna say just get to 100k and I promise I'll get out. Of course, that never happens. Dead cat bounce to 80k and then it's pretty much over after that. Now, that whole thing is the entire psychology of a bag holder, which again, most of us will be. Now, does this mean you already have 50k, therefore you should get out? No, absolutely not, because price action is still going to go up. It's just that how you play that upward price action is what dictates everything. It's a two-part recipe in my opinion. Your personal goals and scaling out. I don't know what your goals are, right? Paying off your loan or having enough size for future cycles or whatever. Whatever it is, you cannot forget it. I have a very strong feeling that a lot of you have raised your targets. You were telling yourself you'd be happy if you made a certain amount. I'm willing to guarantee it's no longer that marker and it's been raised higher, which if you think about it, it should really be the opposite. The higher the value of these assets go, the less you should raise your targets. Same exact psychology of when Bitcoin was at 16k and everyone was calling for 12k. It didn't matter, but they had lower targets that just had to be hit. And I guarantee that even if 12k got hit, people would then say 10k is next. And if you told that sub 20k community that Bitcoin tops at 106k, a decent amount would be very happy and say Bitcoin got to 6 figures. That's great. I don't see anyone calling this a top right now. How can you, right? 120k is next. Then once that gets hit, it'll go to 150, then 200, 250, 300, 400. Point is, there is nothing absolute about any of this. The only thing that's real is whatever goals you accomplish, which you can only do if you stick to your targets. Then we have scaling out. Now, scaling out, I think, is the best way to exit and sell from the crypto markets. And the best thing about it is it lets you have a moon bag. It lets you constantly have skin in the game. I'd say focus on scaling out at least 70% of your position and then have 10 to 30% as a moon bag, depending on how much risk you want to take. So here's an actual example with Caspa. Caspa will break highs, and once it does, I will probably sell around 20% of my CAS holding for every 5 cents we gain. So 20% at 25 cents, another 20 at 30, another 20 at 35, and the final 20 at 40. So at that point, we have an average exit of about like 33 cents or something. And then the final 20 I will keep holding. And then at that point, whether CAS tops at 50 cents, $1, $2, $5, whatever, it doesn't matter because I have skin in the game. And if CAS puts in a very obvious blow off top or lower high structure, because I've exited most of my CAS, I won't feel the pressure and I can very level-headedly exit or continue to hold or do whatever. Scaling out is great because, if you're watching this, you probably have somewhat of an IQ. So the various levels, let's say you're scaling out 5% at a time, I believe that a lot of those 5% targets will be hit. So you'll continue getting something off the table. But what you don't have the ability to do is say to yourself, oh, if my SUI just gets to $22, I'll be a millionaire, because that is just a recipe for the entire bag holder sort of example I gave before. And guess what? Even if it hits $22, you'll probably raise your targets even more. And again, the numbers speak for themselves. 90% bag hold. Take that in. In my next video, I think I will be talking about my portfolio going into 2025. So make sure you're subscribed for that. And I will be revealing every sell I make on those coins on my Twitter. So make sure you're following me there. Link is in description. Like I said back in late November, taking off 20% of my Bitcoin at 98K. I will do that for all the crypto I own. We'll leave it there for now though. Any of your trading needs or investing needs, I have exchange links in the description. And goodbye for now.